In 2000, Katie Kurrick walked into the Today Show studio with her familiar smile. But just seconds after going on air, she left the entire nation stunned when she decided to undergo a colonoscopy live on national television. It was not done to shock audiences or boost ratings, but because her husband had just died of colon cancer at the age of 42. In that moment, television was no longer just television. It became a painful warning, as a woman chose to turn her most private loss into a way to prevent others from enduring the same fate. Katie Kurrick was once seen as America's most likable face, a morning show host with a warm smile, a gentle voice, and the ability to make every story feel personal. But behind that image was a woman who had repeatedly stood on the edge of loss, losing her husband at the height of her career, facing illness within her family, and later becoming a cancer patient herself. She was a symbol of professionalism, yet also someone who faced criticism for controversial career decisions. She brought trust to audiences, while having to fight to preserve her own credibility within a media industry filled with pressure and bias. She told other people's stories every day, but the hardest story was always her own. Katie Kurrick is not just a journalist, but the embodiment of a paradox, a woman who helped an entire nation understand the world while learning how to survive and understand the tragedies within her own life. She was born on January 7, 1957, in Arlington, Virginia, a suburb just outside Washington where news was not only something on screens, but something woven into everyday life. Mornings began with newspapers and radio, and evenings closed with televised broadcasts. Her father worked in media as an editor, shaping and arranging information before it reached the public, while her mother wrote part-time, bringing a quieter, more personal relationship with language into the home. Conversations at the dinner table often revolved around current events, how stories were chosen, and why certain details were emphasized or withheld. Growing up in this environment, Katie Kurrick learned to see events through two layers: what happened and how it was told. News became more than facts. It became a constructed narrative shaped by perspective. Her childhood followed a steady structure of quiet streets, school routines, and a natural habit of following current events. This perspective did not come from a single moment, but from constant exposure to storytelling in different forms. Her education continued along this path when she entered the University of Virginia in 1975 to study American Studies, placing her at the center of questions about society and identity. On campus, she worked for the Cavalier Daily, where journalism became a daily responsibility rather than a distant concept. Writing, editing, and meeting deadlines became part of her routine. At the same time, internships at a radio station introduced her to the fast-paced world of broadcasting, where information had to be immediate and clear. These two environments, print and broadcast, complemented each other and helped shape her approach to news. There was no dramatic turning point, only a gradual accumulation of habits and experiences that anchored her in the profession. In 1979, she entered ABC News in Washington as a desk assistant, working behind the scenes in a busy newsroom where phones rang constantly and information moved rapidly. Her tasks involved taking notes, relaying information, and keeping broadcasts organized. She was not yet on camera, and her work remained largely unseen. Later, at CNN, she worked as an assignment editor in a high-speed environment, coordinating reporters and managing coverage under tight deadlines. When opportunities arose, she stepped into reporting roles, testing herself in front of the camera under pressure. At WTVJ in Miami, she reported from streets, hospitals, and accident scenes, handling every aspect of a story from filming to broadcasting. Returning to Washington at WRC-TV, she worked within a more controlled environment where reports passed through multiple layers of review. Over time, her consistent work led to recognition, including an Emmy and an Associated Press Award, not from a single moment, but from years of steady effort. In 1989, she joined NBC's Washington bureau as a Pentagon correspondent, reporting on military and government matters with precision. She also appeared as a substitute on various NBC programs, moving between roles and gaining experience across the system. In 1991, she became co-anchor of the Today Show during a period of transition. The role demanded long hours, constant preparation, and the ability to shift between different types of content. She interviewed major figures, including U.S. presidents, and covered global events such as the Olympics. Her role reached a peak during the September 11, 2001 attacks, when the program shifted into continuous coverage and she maintained the flow of information in real time without a structured script. In 2006, after 15 years with NBC, she moved to CBS Evening News, becoming the first woman to solo anchor a major U.S. evening newscast. The role came with high expectations and a significant salary, but ratings remained behind competitors. Despite this, she maintained a steady presence, delivering news with precision while also contributing to in-depth reporting on programs like 60 Minutes. Her interviews, including a widely discussed exchange with Sarah Palin, gained attention and further defined her career. By 2011, she left CBS, having established a lasting image of a woman leading a national evening broadcast. After leaving the anchor desk, she transitioned into more flexible roles, including work with ABC News and her talk show Katie, which explored personal and social topics but did not sustain long-term viewership. In 2014, she became global anchor for Yahoo News, adapting to digital media where content was shorter and more immediate. By 2017, she founded Katie Kurrick Media, shifting toward independent production. Projects like the documentary Gender Revolution, collaborations with National Geographic, and her podcast Next Question reflected a move toward deeper, more personal storytelling. She also launched the Wake Up Call newsletter, providing curated news and insights. Her personal life unfolded alongside her career. In the late 1980s, she met lawyer Jay Monahan, and they married in 1989, building a family with 2 daughters. His diagnosis with colorectal cancer changed everything, and in 1998, he passed away at 42, leaving her to continue her career while raising their children. Loss continued with the death of her sister in 2001 and later her father after a long illness. In 2014, she married John Molnar, entering a more stable phase of life. In 2022, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, undergoing treatment while continuing her work, now with a more personal connection to health-related storytelling. Today, her life is no longer tied to a fixed broadcast schedule, but remains structured around her media company, podcast, newsletter, and documentary work. She continues to advocate for cancer awareness, integrating it into her platforms. Her legacy lies not in a single role, but in reshaping journalism, moving from morning television to evening news, and eventually into digital media and independent storytelling. Her journey does not follow a straight line, but unfolds through continuous change, where professional milestones and personal experiences remain deeply intertwined. In the end, the question her life raises is not simply what she achieved, but what truly remains when a person continually evolves in the public eye, the role, the image, or the way they choose to tell their own story.